Lost under twin suns. Two suns burned high above, hanging in a sky with no mercy. The sand below was red and dry. Wind screamed like a dying animal, carrying sharp dust that cut the skin. Nothing lived out here, not by choice. She lay on the hot sand, her body shaking. Her skin was dry, cracked like old stone. Her lips were too hurt to speak. Even blinking hurt. Her name was Kaylee, but no one had spoken it in days, not since they left her here. Her people believed in strength. If someone got too weak or too sick, they were left in the sands. It was the law. No one cried. No one helped. Kaylee was only 17, but her sickness came fast, and the tribe moved on. She begged them not to go, but begging only made them leave faster. Now she waited for death. But death was slow under twin suns, slow and painful. Then something moved. Kaylee's eyes twitched. She thought it was another mirage. The sun made her see things before. Water, food, even her mother's face once. But this time, the shadow did not fade. It was tall, strange, not shaped like any of her kind. It walked on two legs, slow but steady, wearing strange white armor that shimmered in the sun. She blinked hard. It didn't disappear. The figure stopped 10 steps away. He looked down at her. He was not alien to himself. He was human. A man named Ryan, an explorer from Earth. His ship had crashed not far from here, broken by a sandstorm his systems failed to detect. He had come out looking for signs of water, and found her instead. "You're still alive?" Ryan asked, surprised. Kaylee tried to growl, to speak, but only dust came from her mouth. He knelt beside her. She flinched. "I'm not going to hurt you," he said. Slowly, he took off his helmet. His face was pale, sweat dripping, but his eyes were kind. He opened a small pack, pulled out a water bottle, and held it to her lips. Kaylee turned her head away. Nothing was free. Nothing ever was. Ryan waited. "Just take a sip," he whispered. "I won't take anything. I promise." Her body said yes before her mind could scream no. Her lips touched the water. It was warm but clean, sweet like a memory. Tears filled her eyes, not from the water, but from the shock of kindness. "There," Ryan smiled. "See, still strong." Kaylee coughed. Her voice was broken. "Why?" "Help." He looked at her for a long second. "Because you need it. But you don't know me. I don't have to." The sun shifted above them. The heat grew stronger. Ryan checked her skin. It was badly burned. If he didn't act fast, she'd die by nightfall. "Can you walk?" he asked. She shook her head weakly. "Okay, I'll carry you then." Kaylee's eyes widened. "No, too heavy. Danger." "I've carried heavier," Ryan said with a smile. He lifted her gently. Her body was light, too light. She hadn't eaten in days. She gasped in pain, but didn't scream. Ryan began walking back toward the cliffs, where he had set up a small shelter from his broken ship's parts. The walk was long. Sand shifted beneath his boots. Heat baked his back. Kaylee's breath was shallow in his arms. But Ryan didn't stop. Behind them, high on a dune, something watched. 3 figures stood still, covered in robes, faces hidden. They had followed Ryan when he left his crash site. Now they saw him carry the girl. One of them hissed, "He touches the Forsaken." Another whispered, "He must not leave this planet alive." But Ryan didn't know. He only walked forward, carrying the dying girl beneath the cruel suns, not knowing he had already broken a sacred law, not knowing that kindness could start a war. Heat and fear. She woke to the sound of breathing. Not her own. Deep, steady, calm breathing. Not like the wind, not like the hissing of sand snakes, but something close. Close enough that her survival instinct screamed. Kaylee's eyes shot open. The light was dim. Not dark. Not yet. The suns had dipped low in the sky, painting the inside of the cave in shades of gold and orange. Soft cloth hung around the walls, cutting out the worst of the heat. She was lying on a thick blanket, one she didn't recognize. Her heart raced. She sat up too quickly, and pain flashed through her ribs like fire. She winced, breathing hard. Then she saw him. The human. The same one who gave her water. He was sitting across the cave, near a flickering emergency lamp. His back was turned, his shirt off. Long red scratches ran down his side. He was cleaning the wounds with shaking hands. Kaylee froze. She had been taught that humans were dangerous, greedy, selfish. The old stories said they came from a dead world, full of noise and war. Her people called them skyfallers, bringers of fire. And yet, this one had carried her. She remembered his arms, strong but gentle. She remembered the way he said nothing when she cried from pain, only adjusted her weight and kept walking. He hadn't spoken since then. She didn't know if that made her feel safer or more afraid. Ryan turned slightly, and his eyes met hers. "You're awake," he said, not smiling, just stating the truth. She didn't answer. "Your fever broke. That's good. I was worried." Kaylee licked her dry lips. "Where?" "Shelter," he replied. "Part of my ship. The rest is broken. This cave's the only thing keeping the heat from killing us both." He stood slowly, putting on his shirt. Blood had soaked into the fabric. She noticed how he winced. The cuts were deep. "Why are you hurt?" she asked, her voice hoarse. "Wild drac beasts came out at dusk." He shrugged. "They didn't like me walking around with you." Kaylee blinked. "You fought them. For me." "I didn't have much choice," he said, sitting near her now. "They smelled your blood. I wasn't going to let them finish what your people started." His words cut deeper than a knife. Kaylee looked away, shame crawling up her throat. "You know nothing of my people," she said. "You're right," Ryan nodded. "But I know what I saw. A girl dying in the sand, left to die like trash." Her hands clenched. "It's the way. It's our law." He frowned. "Then your law is broken." Silence fell between them. Outside, the wind howled louder. Night was coming. "You should eat," Ryan said after a moment. "You haven't had anything in days." He opened a small pack and pulled out a soft protein bar. Kaylee had never seen anything like it. It smelled strange. Not bad, just different. He tore it in half and offered a piece. Kaylee stared at it. She didn't take it. Ryan sighed and placed the food on a flat stone between them. "No tricks," he said softly. "No traps. Just food." Kaylee narrowed her eyes. "Humans don't give without taking." "Maybe," he admitted. "But I'm not here to take. I came to map this planet. To study life. Not to steal it." "Then why help me?" Ryan looked tired. He leaned his head back against the cave wall and closed his eyes for a second before answering. "Because you were alone," he said quietly. "And no one should die alone." Kaylee's heart twisted. No one had ever said that to her. Not even her mother, who left her behind when the sickness came. Slowly, she reached for the food. Her hands shook. She took a small bite. It was dry, chewy. It stuck to her teeth, but it filled the hollow inside her belly, the one she had ignored for days. "Thank you," she whispered, barely loud enough to hear. Ryan didn't answer. He was already checking his scanner. A tiny screen blinked red. Kaylee watched him work. "What is that?" she asked. "Signal beacon," he replied. "Trying to contact my ship in orbit. Or someone. Anyone. You think someone will come?" "They better," Ryan muttered. "I only have food for 3 days." Her eyes narrowed. "You gave half to me." He smiled, finally. "Yeah. Bad math." Kaylee looked at him for a long time. She didn't understand this man. He had no reason to be kind. And yet, every time he could choose to leave her behind, he didn't. Maybe he was lying. Maybe he was just very good at pretending. but a small part of her wanted to believe. That night, as the cold crept into the cave and distant howls echoed across the desert, Kaylee did something she had not done since childhood. She closed her eyes and slept. Outside, under the alien moons, 3 watchers stood on a ridge, cloaked in shadow. Their eyes glowed faint blue. "She lives," one whispered. "With him," said another. The tallest stepped forward, voice cold like metal. "Then she is no longer one of us." They turned and vanished into the dark, leaving only footprints in the sand. Tribe of Shadows. The sand remembered everything. Even if the people forgot, the desert did not. Every footprint left a whisper. Every breath taken under the twin suns echoed into the ground. And someone was listening. Deep beneath a crumbling stone outcrop, 3 cloaked figures stood around a fire made of cold burning crystals. They did not warm their hands. They did not speak unless needed. They watched the flames. In the center, an image shimmered, Kaylee, alive, breathing, resting beside a human. "She should be dead," one said. "She has defied the right of silence," said another. "No," whispered the tallest. "He defied it." Their eyes glowed faintly in the darkness, reflecting the sacred light. Their faces were hidden, but their words carried weight like iron. These were the Watchers, the hidden hand of Kaylee's tribe, the ones who made sure no outcast ever returned. But now, one had, and she wasn't alone. Meanwhile, Ryan was adjusting the solar shield over the cave's entrance. Sunrise had arrived like a hammer, bright, heavy, and blinding. The twin suns crawled over the horizon, setting fire to the sand in orange and gold. He wiped sweat from his neck and turned toward the sound of movement. Kaylee had crawled outside. She stood on shaky legs, arms wrapped around herself, staring at the sun like it had betrayed her. "You should rest," Ryan said gently, still not fully recovered. "I've rested enough to be killed," she replied. Ryan raised a brow. "That a local saying?" Kaylee shook her head. "It's truth. If they find me standing again, they'll end it properly." "Who?" he asked. "The Watchers." Ryan stepped forward. "You mean someone is looking for you?" Kaylee's jaw tightened. "They are always watching. If I survive the right, it means the spirits have favored me. But if I survive with help," she paused, "then I am unclean, cursed. Both of us will be punished." Ryan looked at her for a long time. "Guess we'll just have to make it hard to find us then." Kaylee almost smiled. "Almost. You're strange, human. You're not the first to say that." That day, Ryan spent hours trying to repair the beacon. The signal was weak. The nearest human station was far, weeks away, maybe months. But he didn't stop. He couldn't. Kaylee helped him, handing tools, watching how he worked. She had never seen a machine up close before. Her people feared technology. But watching him move wires, whisper curses, and smile when things sparked, it was like watching magic. He caught her staring. "You've never done this before, huh?" he asked. She shook her head. "We're not allowed. The elders say machines make the mind lazy." "Maybe," Ryan said, smiling. "Or maybe they're just afraid of what they don't understand." "And you're not afraid?" she asked. His smile faded. "I'm always afraid," he said. "I just don't let it stop me." That answer made her quiet. The second night, they heard something outside. Not the wind, not the beasts. Footsteps. Ryan grabbed his light and scanned the dark, holding his makeshift spear in the other hand. Kaylee stayed behind him, eyes wide. The cave was silent. The stars above shimmered in the twin sky. Then, a voice. "You've brought fire into the sacred sands, human." Ryan turned fast. A figure stood at the edge of the light, cloaked, tall, silent. Behind him, 2 more shapes appeared, shadows in robes, faces hidden. Kaylee gasped. "Watchers." Ryan stepped in front of her. She's under my protection, he said. The tallest figure laughed, cold and dry. Your protection means nothing here. Kaylee stepped forward, trembling. Leave him. This is between me and the tribe. You shame us, the Watcher hissed. You live. You speak. And worse, you bond with the Skyfaller. Ryan spoke firm. I saved her life. She didn't ask for me. Don't blame her for surviving. She drank your water, shared your fire, your blood. She belongs to you now. Kaylee froze. What? The Watcher's eyes narrowed. Your customs are different, human. But here, saving a Forsaken ties their soul to yours. You have taken her place in the trial. What does that mean? Ryan asked. The second Watcher stepped forward. It means you will face death in her name. And she must choose to fight beside you, or watch you burn alone. Ryan turned to Kaylee. What is this? She shook her head, backing away. I didn't know. I didn't. You must choose, girl, the Watcher said. Do you return with us, or do you fight the law that made you nothing? Kaylee looked at Ryan. He looked calm, maybe too calm. You saved me, she whispered. Now you'll die for it. Ryan smiled faintly. Worth it. Kaylee's eyes burned, not from the wind, not from pain. She turned back to the Watchers. I choose. They waited. I fight, she said. The Watchers said nothing. But the wind shifted, and the fire behind their eyes dimmed. So be it, the lead one said. Your bond is sealed. They'd vanished into the darkness, leaving no footprints behind. When dawn came, Kaylee was still awake. She hadn't slept, not since the Watchers left. Ryan stirred beside the fire, rubbing his eyes. Still alive? He asked. For now. He looked at her. You could have gone with them. I know. But you stayed. Kaylee stared at the fire. You carried me when I was nothing, she said. So now I'll carry you through what's coming. Ryan chuckled. That's fair. Kaylee didn't smile. She looked out at the desert. Somewhere, out there, her tribe was waiting. But this time, she wouldn't face them as a dying girl. She would return, with a human at her side. And that changed everything. Echoes in the sand, the desert did not sleep. It only waited. Beneath the shifting dunes and silent rocks, old voices stirred, voices older than Kaylee's tribe, older than the Watchers, older even than the stars they feared. These voices had no mouths. They lived in stone, in machines buried and forgotten. And now they were waking. Because someone had sent a signal. Someone human. Ryan sat hunched over the blinking transmitter, fingers covered in sand and oil. The little screen pulsed faint green every few seconds. That meant it was still trying, still calling into space, across endless black silence. Kaylee stood a few steps behind him, staring at the device like it might grow teeth and bite. Does it always take this long? She asked. Sometimes longer, Ryan said, not looking back. What if no one hears it? Then we try again tomorrow. She hated that answer. It was calm. Too calm. Like he wasn't worried at all that they were stranded, hunted, and slowly running out of food. You don't seem scared, she said. I am, he said softly. I just don't let it stop me. The same words he had told her before. They echoed louder now. They spent the day packing what little they had. If the Watchers returned, they wouldn't just talk. Next time, they would kill. Kaylee led them deeper into the dunes, to a place her tribe avoided, the dead place. They say it was cursed by fire from the sky, she said. Ryan smiled faintly. Sounds like a crash site. It was more than that. They climbed down into a canyon hidden by broken stones. The air changed as they entered, colder, stiller. At the bottom lay the remains of something massive. Metal bones twisted in sand, towers half swallowed by time. Ryan stopped walking. His breath caught. This wasn't just a crash site. This was ancient. Alien. Machines were buried into the rock, glowing faint blue. Symbols ran along the walls. Not human, not from her tribe. "What is this place?" Kaylee whispered. Ryan's eyes lit up. "This is history." He ran his hand across the stone. It was smooth, warm, alive somehow. "We should not be here," Kaylee said. "This place, it watches." Ryan looked back at her. "So do the Watchers. But they're flesh. This is just tech." He was wrong. As night came, Ryan found a chamber still intact. The door opened when he touched the panel. Lights blinked on, pale and slow, like waking from a long sleep. They'd made camp inside. For the first time in days, they were out of the open. The air inside smelled strange, metallic and sweet. Kaylee slept curled in a corner. But Ryan couldn't. He sat beside a console covered in dust. His fingers hovered over the screen. Then something spoke. Not out loud. In his head. Visitor detected. Human pattern match. 82.4%. Language sync. Partial. Do you wish to interface? Ryan blinked. What? The screen lit up with soft blue symbols, then shifted into English. Echo protocol active. Do you seek knowledge or power? Ryan hesitated. Knowledge, he said. I want to understand this place. Access granted. Light burst from the console. Lines of information, maps, and stars. Kaylee woke with a gasp, eyes wide. What did you do? Nothing, Ryan said, stunned. It's showing me everything. The machine spoke again. You carry the key. But you are not alone. Kaylee stepped forward. It's speaking to me too, she whispered. Then, without warning, a part of the wall slid open. A floating orb hovered out, covered in glass and light. It moved around Kaylee, scanning her. Subject. Confirmed. Bloodline fragment detected. Activating guardian memory. The orb glowed brighter. And then, it played a voice. A woman's voice. Strong. Soft. Kaylee, if you're hearing this, it means the Watchers lied. Kaylee's knees gave out. She fell to the floor, eyes wide. Mother. The voice continued. You were never meant to die in the sand. You are heir to something older than the tribe. They erased your history. They feared it. Ryan stood frozen. The orb showed images, a time before the desert, before the tribe. When Kaylee's people had cities, machines, ships, she came from that line. Her sickness was not a curse, it was awakening. The tribe had tried to silence her blood, but it had survived. Ryan helped her to her feet. She was shaking. What does it mean? He asked. Kaylee looked up, tears in her eyes. It means they left me to die because I was stronger than they understood. The next morning, the machine inside the ruins sent out a second signal, not just to human space, to everywhere. And someone responded. High above, in orbit, a black ship changed course. Not friendly, not from Earth. Its engines burned red. It had heard the call, and it was coming. Broken laws, new bonds. The sandstorm came without warning. The sky turned gray. The wind screamed. And the ruins vanished under waves of dust. Ryan and Kaylee huddled inside the ancient chamber, the walls shaking as the storm raged outside. Lights flickered. Old machines buzzed with life and fear, as if they remembered storms like this from long ago. But it wasn't the wind that worried Kaylee. It was the silence that came after. When the storm passed, the sky was too still, too quiet, like the world itself was holding its breath. And in that stillness, the footsteps came. First one, then many, shadows moving through the fog of settling sand. They've come, Kaylee said quietly, standing at the edge of the ruins. Ryan joined her. The Watchers. She shook her head. No, the whole tribe. He looked through his visor. Sure enough, they were coming. Dozens of figures, walking in a line. cloaked in brown and red, their eyes glowing faint in the morning sun. Leading them was a man twice as tall as the others. His mask was made of carved stone. His shoulders were wrapped in black cloth. The High Speaker. "He's the law," Kaylee whispered. "His word is final." "What does he want?" "Me," she said. "And maybe you." They didn't run. Ryan knew if they ran, they'd only delay it. He also knew he was out of food, out of energy, and nearly out of time. So he stood beside Kaylee when the tribe arrived. The High Speaker stepped forward. The others stayed back, their faces hidden, their hands resting on long staffs. "Child of Ash," the High Speaker said, his voice like grinding stone. "You were cast into the fire. Yet here you stand, not burned." Kaylee raised her chin. "I survived. You broke the silence. You walked with the Skyfaller, drank his water, shared his shadow. I also found the truth," she said, "in the ruins your fathers tried to bury." Murmurs spread through the group. Ryan noticed the tension. "You were never meant to know that place," the High Speaker said. "That knowledge is poison. It killed our past. It would kill our future." "It gave me back my name," Kaylee said. "It showed me my mother's voice." A pause. Then the speaker turned to Ryan. "You have broken the balance," he said. "You should not be here. Your kind left this world long ago." "I crashed," Ryan said. "I didn't come to break anything." "Yet you did," the speaker growled. "You carried the girl. You gave her hope. You made her defy the right. You left her to die." Ryan snapped. "I didn't." For a moment, no one moved. Then, the speaker raised his hand. "You have one choice, human. Surrender your bond. Walk into exile alone. The girl may return, but only if she denies you." Kaylee's breath caught. "Deny me," Ryan whispered. "If she speaks your name," the speaker said, "she is no longer one of us." Everyone waited. Kaylee stood between them. In front of her, the only home she ever knew. Behind her, the human who carried her through fire. She remembered the cave, the water, the food he didn't have to give, the blood he spilled to save her. Her choice burned like the sun's. And then she turned to Ryan. "I will not leave you," she said. The speaker's voice darkened. "Then you are nothing. Not of our blood. Not of our name." Kaylee stepped forward. "Then I will make a new name." Gasps from the tribe. "You walk with this one?" the speaker asked. She nodded. "He didn't save me out of duty. He didn't bind me with laws. He simply cared." Her voice shook, but it didn't break. "And that," she said, "is more than any of you ever did." The punishment was immediate. The speaker raised his staff. It cracked with energy. But Ryan moved faster. He pulled Kaylee behind him and activated a shock beacon from his pack. The blast of light sent the front line stumbling back. "Run," he told her. "No," Kaylee said. "Not anymore." She grabbed a weapon from the ruins, one of the old staffs, now humming with power, and stood beside him. The speaker roared. "She has taken the relic. She has betrayed the flame." The watchers moved forward. Battle was seconds away. But then, the sky cracked open. A thunderous roar echoed through the canyon. Everyone looked up. A black ship, sharp and long, was descending through the clouds. Not human. Not tribal. Other. Ryan's eyes widened. They heard the signal. "Who?" Kaylee asked. "Pirates," he whispered. "They'll kill anyone just to strip this place clean." The tribe backed away in fear. The High Speaker stared at the sky. "What have you brought upon us?" he whispered. Kaylee turned to Ryan. "Do we fight?" "We all fight," he said, looking at the tribe. "If we don't, no one walks away. The desert carries secrets." The ship came down like a falling god. Black metal, red lights, engines screaming louder than thunder. It cracked the clouds open, casting a wide shadow over the desert. Sand rose in storms beneath it, swallowing the canyon in dust. Everyone ran for cover. tribe, watchers, Ryan, all forced to the ground by the storm. Only Kaylee stood. She stared at the sky with wide, unblinking eyes. Her hand tightened around the ancient staff, and something inside her stirred, like a flame that had been waiting too long to burn. "They're here," Ryan shouted, grabbing her arm. "We have to move." Kaylee didn't move. She looked beyond the smoke, beyond the roar, toward something only she could feel. "The desert is speaking," she said softly. Ryan blinked. "What?" "It remembers," she whispered. "It remembers me." The ship landed hard on the sand. Its doors hissed open. Figures stepped out, tall, armored in bone-white plates. Their faces were hidden behind visors shaped like skulls. They held guns longer than Ryan's arm, glowing with blue plasma. Not human pirates. Salvagers, scavengers of lost tech. They didn't come for gold. They came for memory, for the bones of ancient machines, for living cores, for forbidden things buried in the dirt. One of them stepped forward, holding a scanner. "Signal confirmed," the machine voice said. "This ruin contains artifact class tech. Priority high. Terminate all witnesses." Ryan and Kaylee ran toward the ruins. Behind them, tribe warriors scattered. Some fought. Most fled. Plasma fire lit the canyon in bursts of light and death. The ancient machines inside the cave began to hum. They felt the danger, and they were waking up. "They'll tear this place apart," Ryan said, breathless. Kaylee stopped. "No," she said. "They won't." She turned and ran deeper into the ruins. Ryan followed, confused. "What are you doing?" "The orb," she said. "The voice. It said I had bloodline access. If there's anything in this place that can protect us, it will answer me." They reached the core chamber. It was deep, circular. The walls were covered in glowing marks, pulsing faster now, responding to her presence. The orb floated out again, brighter than before. "Subject Kaylee. Access confirmed. Warning. Outside threat detected. Activating defensive integration." Kaylee looked at Ryan. "Do it," he said. She nodded. "Stand by. Genetic sync in progress." The room glowed. A ring of light formed beneath her feet. The orb cracked open, releasing a cloud of tiny machines, nanites, like silver dust, spinning around her body. Kaylee gasped. They didn't hurt. They listened. They flowed into her skin, her blood, her bones. Her scars faded, her back straightened. Her eyes glowed faint gold. The transformation lasted seconds, but when it ended, she was not the same girl. Ryan stared. "Kaylee." She looked at her hands, then at him. "I can hear them," she said. "The machines, the walls, even the sand." "Synchronization complete," the orb said. "You are now Guardian class. Desert key accepted. Command, yours." Kaylee turned to the walls. "Protect the canyon," she said. "Protect the living." Outside, the battle was nearly lost. Salvagers moved like ghosts, killing without sound. Tried warriors fell. The high speaker was wounded. Watchers burned to ash under blue fire. Then, the earth shook. Stone towers burst from the ground. Sand twisted into walls. Glowing shapes formed in the sky. Ancient drones, long hidden beneath the dunes, now flying in formation. The ruins were alive. Ryan ran out first, eyes wide. Kaylee followed. She didn't run anymore. She walked. And the desert obeyed her. Plasma bolts flew toward her. They didn't touch her. A shimmering shield stopped them midair. Kaylee raised one hand, and a tower opened behind her, launching a shockwave across the battlefield. Salvagers screamed. Tribe members stared in awe. "She is marked by the first flame," one whispered. "No," the high speaker said, watching her with fear and wonder. "She is the flame." The battle turned. The machines fought with her. The sand rose like a wave, swallowing enemy guns. Glowing sentries dove from the sky, targeting the salvagers with laser precision. Ryan grabbed a fallen spear and fought beside her. Together, they pushed the enemy back, step by step. When the last salvager fell, the desert was quiet again. No one spoke. Then, Kaylee dropped to one knee. The machines retreated into her skin. The glow faded. Ryan caught her before she hit the ground. "You okay?" She nodded weakly. "I'm just tired." "You saved all of them," he whispered. "Not for them," she said. "For us." Later, as the sun began to fall, the high speaker approached her. His arm was burned, his robe torn, but he bowed his head. "You are no longer bound by our laws," he said. "You have broken them and made something greater." Kaylee looked at the tribe, at the watchers, at the ruins behind her. "You left me to die," she said. "You don't get to claim me now." The high speaker nodded. "Then what will you do?" Kaylee looked at Ryan. "We leave," she said. "There's more out there, more ruins, more machines, more truths." "You would walk into the unknown?" the speaker asked. Ryan smiled. "We already did," he said. Together, she walked under one sun for the first time in her life. The desert was quiet. No voices whispered in the wind. No weapons hummed in the distance. No eyes watched from the cliffs. Only the sun remained. One sun. The second had vanished below the horizon, hiding behind the sands. And Kaylee stood in the light, alive. Not because someone allowed her to be. Not because she obeyed the law. But because she chose to stay standing. And this time, she was not alone. The battle was over. The ruins slept again, half buried in dust. The machines had returned to silence, their purpose fulfilled. The salvager ship burned on the far ridge, a twisted shape of metal and flame. The tribe had left before dawn. The high speaker gave no orders. He simply looked at Kaylee one last time, bowed with respect, not fear, and walked into the sands. The others followed, leaving behind their old laws, their broken silence, and the girl they could no longer control. Ryan watched them go, arms crossed. "They won't forget you," he said. Kaylee sat on a flat stone, hair tangled, eyes soft. "Good," she said, "but I won't wait for them anymore." They spent 2 days resting in the ruins. The machines healed Kaylee slowly. She was strong, but even fire needs time to burn bright again. Ryan treated his wounds with what little medical gel he had left. Sometimes they spoke. Sometimes they just sat in silence. On the second night, under the open stars, Ryan looked at her and asked a question he'd been holding back since the beginning. "Why did you choose me?" Kaylee tilted her head. "What do you mean?" "Back when the speaker gave you a way out, you could have gone back. You could have left me behind." She stared at the sky. The stars shimmered like cold dust. "Because you didn't treat me like I was broken," she said. "Everyone else did." Ryan blinked. "I was dying," she continued. "I was nothing. And you looked at me like I mattered anyway." Her voice was steady. "You didn't try to fix me. You just sat beside me." Ryan smiled slowly. "You're not broken," he said. "I know that now." On the third day, Ryan's signal finally reached someone. A human ship. A real one, marked with peace colors, responded from low orbit. The voice crackled through the communicator. "This is Shuttle Hope 17 responding to distress beacon. We've tracked your position. Hang tight. Pick up ETA. 7 hours." Ryan laughed aloud when he heard it. Kaylee smiled for the first time in days. Hope was coming. But as the hours passed, she grew quiet again. They packed what they could. Water, data drives, one of the old staffs. Ryan carried a piece of salvage tech, something he said might be worth trading later. Kaylee stood near the cliff edge, looking out at the dunes. "When that ship lands," she said, "I'll be the only one of my kind on it." Ryan nodded. "You sure you want to come?" She turned to him. "I'm sure." "You're not scared?" "I'm always scared," she said. "I just don't let it stop me." He smiled. You stole my line. I made it better. The ship landed just after sunset. Its engines stirred the sand gently, not like the salvager's violent roar. The side door opened with a soft hiss, and a woman in a white suit stepped down the ramp. Her eyes scanned both of them. "Survivors?" she asked. Ryan raised a hand. "Yep. One human. One miracle." The woman looked at Kaylee. "She with you?" "Always," Ryan said. Kaylee stepped forward. The woman studied her. The golden eyes, the quiet strength, the ancient tech hidden under her skin. "You've got a story," she said. "Too long for one ride," Kaylee replied. "Good," the woman said. "We've got time." Inside the ship, Ryan sat beside Kaylee as it lifted into the sky. Through the window, the planet grew smaller. The sand blurred into color. The ruins became dots, and the sun, just one now, shined warmly behind them. Kaylee leaned her head on Ryan's shoulder. "Do you think there are more places like this?" she asked. "Definitely," he said, "and we're going to find them. Together." He looked at her. "You ever doubt that?" "Not anymore." They didn't return as heroes. No one on Earth would know what Kaylee did. No one would believe a half-dead girl once woke a desert and saved a people. But that was okay. She didn't need statues. She didn't want stories. She just wanted a place to walk under a sun that didn't burn her. A world where she could choose her own path. A name not given by birth or tribe, but by truth. Months later, in a new outpost far beyond the old borders, a small plaque sat on the edge of a garden made from alien soil. It read, "Here walked a girl the world gave up on, until she chose to rise." And beside her walked a man who never looked away.